Hi, greetings, fellow Trekkers and Trekkers. Well, we'll look at Star Trek Deep Space Nine Season 3. Now it continues on with the penultimate episode of Season 3, Facets. Nog attempts to maneuver his runabout out of harm's way as an unseen enemy starship pursues him. The computer announces that a Cardassian vessel has locked its weapons on him. He successfully evades the weapons lock, only to be interrupted as Jake appears outside the runabout and knocks on the glass window. Nog is actually in holosuite, so Jake present, he ends the holo program. As he exits the holosuite, Nog explains that he is trying to boost his scores for entry into Starfleet Academy, and his reaction times are almost high enough. While Jake is sure his friend will make it, Nog's uncle Quark is obviously pessimistic about the ordeal. Quark claims Nog would be better off in a more profitable industry, such as writing holosuite programs, especially the more intimate variety. Neither Nog nor Jake finds his suggestion very appealing. Later, Quark, Dr. Bashir, Lita, Chief O'Brien, Odo and Kira join Dax and Commander Sisko in the wardroom, where Jadzia has something important to ask them. It's time for her Ziantara, a drill process in which she will meet former hosts of the Dax symbiote, and as her closest friends, she wants each of them to lend their body to one of her hosts, which makes everyone feel a little uneasy. Dax explains that the process will be done telepathically by Guardian. At any time, the host can reinsert him or herself. Naturally, everyone but Quark, who does not want some dead person inside him, agrees. However, a few touches of Dax's hands to his lobes makes him much more agreeable. Kira agrees to invite the first Dax host, Leela. While Dax waits for the Guardian to arrive from drill, Nog meets O'Brien in holosuite to begin his stress reaction test. However, the simulation is not in a runabout but ops aboard DS9. Nog panics, as he has not practiced ops, but O'Brien explains that tests that he has practiced for the runabout would not be very stressful. The Guardian, a quiet, timid man, arrives to perform the Ziantara and observes how long Dax has put it off. In Dax's quarters, he performs the ceremony and transfers Leela's memories into Kira. Although the sensation of Leela's memories being gone is strange for Jadzia at first, she and Leela get to know one another. She learns that habit of talking with her hands behind her back comes from Leela. Learned to do so because her fellow politicians have mocked her excessive use of hand gestures. The rest of the Ziantara proceeds smoothly as Dax meets her other hosts. As expected, Tobin Dax, invited by Chief O'Brien, as a nervous nail-biter who apologizes too much, and Dax discusses gymnastics with Emily through Lita. Quark's turn to embody Audra does unmuse him. She has a warm motherly spirit who talks about how wonderful it is to have children. When it is Bashir's turn, he lends his body to Trias, who claims Bashir should lay off his diet, as life is too short to deny oneself the simple pleasures. Finally, the time comes for the most difficult host, Duran, the murderer, whom Sisko will embody. At the security office, Sisko is voluntarily placed in holding cell for the duration of the ceremony. Once the transfer has been completed and the force field is activated, the Guardian and Odo leave Jadzia and Sisko/Duran alone. Duran appears very passive but dangerous as he observes what a pretty girl Jadzia is. However, he claims she is nothing more and attempts to convince her to lower the force field. She sternly refuses. With complete calm and serenity, Duran places Sisko's hand that both ends against the force and begins banging his head against it until Jadzia lowers it. Sisko appears to have gained control when Duran comes back and tries to strangle Jadzia. She fights Duran off, and afterwards, when Sisko wrests back control, he jokingly thanks her while lying on the floor for not breaking any of his bones. During the other host's time with Dax, O'Brien's continuing Nog's testing in the holosuite while Rom eagerly anticipates his son's return. Quark is less enthusiastic about the prospect of losing his nephew to human values, but that doesn't stop Rom from purchasing a Starfleet uniform from Garrick's tailor shop, regardless of whether Nog passes. As the last host of the Dax symbiote before Jadzia, Curzon is the final part of her Ziantara, and Odo has agreed to embody him. However, she seems apprehensive as she walks along the promenade with Sisko. Part of the reason she spun up her Ziantara off is that she was afraid she would not measure up with previous hosts. Now, faced with the man who rejected her original application to the Symbiosis Commission, she has a chance to ask whether Curzon did so because he thought she was not good enough, and she doesn't seem eager to finally hear the answer. The Guardian performs a ceremony, which due to Odo's shape-shifting nature causes his face to mold itself to resemble Curzon's. It even includes Curzon's trill spots. Curzon/Odo immediately heads to Sisko's quarters, where Sisko learns that Odo's unique chemical makeup has caused a blending of personalities, much like when Triller joined with the symbiote. Curzon invites Sisko to Quark's for a glass of Tranya, where it becomes evident that Curzon is thoroughly enjoying himself in Odo's body. But when Jadzia arrives, Sisko carefully excuses himself to grade Nod's exam, allowing Jadzia to talk with Curzon alone about private issues. As the conversation progresses, Jadzia tries to break up her candidacy for joining. Curzon was her instructor, but becomes distracted when he notices a Ferengi named Lonzo, who was a Tongo hustler. They challenge Lonzo to a game, and together they clean him out. Meanwhile, Nagas failed his spatial orientation test, disqualifying him from entering the academy. But Quark reassures him there will always be a place for him at the bar. However, he asks Curzon and Jadzia to leave, as it has now been an hour since the bar closed and they are still playing Tongo. Heading to the security office, Curzon opens a bottle of Saurian brandy, which Odo confiscated from a Yadrian smuggler, and shares it with Jadzia, despite her concerns about imbibing on evidence. He admits to dodging her inquiry earlier. Confronted with the question of why he did not object to Jadzia's second application for joining, despite rejecting her the first time, he reveals that he probably felt sorry for her. His one-time thoughts on the matter don't seem to bother him, but Jadzia is bothered by his carefree attitude. Curzon comes to a decision that he believes will benefit all parties involved. He and Odo really like what they have become and wish to stay as they are. In Sisko's office, the Grid informs Jadzia and Sisko they cannot remove Curzon's memories from Odo without Odo's consent. Sisko and Jadzia talk in private, and without losing Curzon seems troubling to Jadzia. She does not intend to interfere if both Curzon and Odo wish to stay as they are. However, Sisko does not agree. He believes Curzon is being selfish and won't back down, as was the case on several occasions when Sisko did as much. Jadzia considers the issue at length. Meanwhile, Rom catches Quark in an empty corridor to confront his brother about the fact that Quark sabotaged Nog's test by reconfiguring the holosuite. Quark admits to doing so, and he feels he is justified as his actions are Nog's best interest. Furious, Rom confrontation tells Quark he has already gone to Sisko about the matter, and he's going to allow Nog to retake the test. Rom then asks Quark not to interfere again, even threatening to burn his bar to the ground. If he does, nothing, not even Latinum, is more important to Rom than his son's happiness. Jadzia goes to Odo's quarters, where he and Curzon have been oozing around the room and enjoying themselves. Confronted about the memories, Curzon claims Jadzia is, and always has been, nothing but a little girl. She's not imitated and stands her ground. Finally, just as Sisko predicted, he stands out and admits that she is not, nor was she when she was initiate. As he touches her face with one hand, in an intimate manner, a little girl, as he quietly looks away and several moments pass. It is evident that Curzon was in love with Jadzia when he watched her during the program, and is still in love with her now. He reveals that he rejected her because he loved her, but felt so guilty, he nearly retired from the Symbiosis Commission. When she reapplied, it was a blessing to his conscience, which is why he didn't object to her second application. They both agree that Curzon's memories rightfully belong to Jadzia. Curzon agrees to go back to the way things were. Back in the bar, Nog has passed the test necessary for his entrance into Starfleet Academy, and he's dressed in the cadet's uniform his father purchased for him. Sisko asks if he may be jumping the gun a bit, but Nog explains that he did not want to hurt his father's feelings by not wearing it. Everyone celebrates, even Quark, albeit begrudgingly. Quark knows he has lost Nog when the young Ferengi orders a root beer, claiming it is what they drink at the academy. Dax and Odo are sitting together on the second level, where they discuss the recent events. Each has had a wonderful experience, Odo having had the best time of his life, and Dax having gained the memories of what it feels like to be a changeling and morph into different things. Odo expresses his appreciation of Curzon's ability to mix his hectic social life with his work, and that he was a remarkable man. Dax replies, "Yes, he is." Aw, that's so sweet. So let's take a look at some trivia surrounding this episode. This episode builds on elements from Jadzia's past already established in previous episodes. Leela and Duran have been mentioned in Equilibrium. Jadzia's troubled initiation, illuminated by Curzon and then reapplying, was first mentioned in Playing God. Emily, Audrey, and Therese are established in this episode, and are mentioned again in subsequent episodes. For at Dax, the Hydroca Trail host from Visa Procedures does not appear as one of Dax's former hosts during the Zian Tara. The reason behind this are left to explain in the episode. although Verada was only joined for a few hours. This episode continues two Ferengi-based plots originally appearing in Heart of Stone, Nog's attempt to get into Starfleet Academy, and the illusion of Rom's tendency to stand up to Quark in certain situations. This episode is the last where Sisko holds the rank of commander, as he is promoted to captain in the opening scene of the next episode. When Cortez/Odo is in Quark's, he requests a drink of Tranya. This is the same drink served by Balak in the original series episode, The Corbinite Maneuver. This is the last episode of the series to be directed by Cliff Bole. The uniform Rom had Garrick make for Nog had a comm badge when it was in the gift box, but Nog wore it to the party without the comm badge. This was the first appearance of the gray Starfleet cadet uniform, albeit not one issued by Starfleet. The real one, which is indeed the same design, appears in Homefront. This episode marks the first mention of root beer in the series. The beverage ended up being a humorous topic of discussion between Quark and Garrick in the episode The Way of the Warrior. In the scene involving O'Brien as Tobin, Josiah mentions that Tobin had the most original approach to prove since models over 300 years ago, regarding Tobin's work on Fermat's last theorem. This appears to be a nod to Wallace's proof of Fermat's last theorem, which had just been published a month before the airing of this episode. The theorem had previously been mentioned by Captain Jean-Luc Picard in the original series, in the Next Generation episode The Royale, who referred to it as a lacking of proof for over 800 years. When O'Brien briefs Nog and Holosuite about Starfleet Academy entrance exams, the prop had the chief carries reads, "Go away." It is a reuse of the pad that Bashir hands to Jackson explorers to get her to leave while he flirts with Lita. So overall, I think this episode is kind of interesting. I like the fact that we get to see a lot more Dax, see some of the other Dax hosts and stuff like that. So yeah. So overall, I give Facets 4 warp cores out of 5. Anyway, tune in a bit as we take a look at the final episode of Season 3, The Adversary. So, until then, live long and prosper, everybody.